Turns out if you want this Labour government to actually do their damn jobs, you've got to get the help of the richest man in the world, the tech titan Elon Musk. He has launched a furious campaign against our Labour government, this Sir Keir Starmer administration, and it's worked. It's paid off. The media pressure that's been brought about thanks to this, the political pressure that's been brought about thanks to this, highlighting of the issue by this powerful man, has forced this government into a U-turn. They've actually acted on a limited inquiry into actually looking into why our girls have been left to be systemically raped by primarily Pakistani grooming gangs, but it doesn't go far enough, and I'll tell you why in just a second. Here's some of what she had to say.
The Task Force reports there are currently 127 major police investigations underway on child sexual exploitation and gang grooming across 29 different police forces. Many major investigations have involved Pakistani heritage gangs, and the police task force evidence also shows exploitation and abuse taking place across many different communities and ethnicities. But the data on ethnicity of both perpetrators and victims is still inadequate. I've also asked the Child Sexual Exploitation Task Force to immediately expand the ethnicity data it collects and publishes. I have asked Baroness Louise Casey to oversee a rapid audit of the current scale and nature of gang-based exploitation across the country.
So a few points. Baroness Louise Casey, she has a few months to do this, right? It's a rapid response to this inquiry. So how much is she actually going to be able to gather in that time? She mentions there that there are a whole host of perpetrators of child sexual exploitation, whilst also saying that there, as we know, there is a large portion of Pakistani grooming gangs in that mix-up. It isn't packs of white men going about doing this, and if it was, I can bet you my bottom dollar, I can absolutely guarantee, if it was white men gathered in packs raping Muslim girls, you can bet your bottom dollar that there wouldn't be a local a limited inquiry. This would be a national hoo-ha. Labour would be up in arms over this. They would be extracting every single legislative lever that they possibly can. There isn't a statutory requirement for people to actually attend hearings in this inquiry, to be witnesses in this inquiry, because they're not giving that power to the inquiry. So basically, people that are asked to attend can say no. They can be like, well, I don't want to attend this. Sod off. You know, I've got away with it for so long now. Why would I bother turning up voluntarily? And I think actually these disgusting, horrible perverts would be absolutely right in doing so. You've got to have a toothy inquiry to be able to muscle out all of the horribleness that's been swept under the national carpet for such a long time. It doesn't have that teeth. It's limited. You know, there are grooming gangs in this part of the world, in the northeast of England. You don't hear about places like that. How many places like this are there up and down the country that won't receive this local limited inquiry? With toothless as it is. It doesn't go far enough. The data being collected, recognition of Pakistani grooming gang involvement from Labour, you know, I welcome it. I'm not going to lie, I welcome it. But I'm not convinced that this will actually extract everything that we need it to. I'm not convinced this will lead to the prosecution of those who've been involved in this, because no doubt there are many men walking free today. And I go back to that point that the entire, it's depressing that it took Elon Musk to bring this about, even though it doesn't go far enough, to actually bring about white girls in this country being prioritised because the left view them as inherently privileged because of the colour of their skin, and they view their multicultural pet project as sacrosanct. It ought to be protected at all costs, even if that means that you do brush under the national carpet some of the most grotesque abuses that we've ever seen in this country. So I'm not happy with it. I'm not convinced. I go back to that point where, you know, white men doing this in gangs, which isn't happening. It doesn't happen. There aren't gangs of white men doing this. If it was, though, you can bet your bottom dollar that they would have statutory powers, that they would have investigating powers, that actually the police would be told, you better get to the bloody bottom of this and give me the data and the evidence I need to call this what it is. That ain't happened today. It's a step in the right direction, but it ain't the whole hog that we need.